Want to see what it looks like? Take a look at the EU. The EU. I was just speaking at an international conference, and one of the other speakers was President Václav Klaus of the Czech Republic. And he said that they did everything they could to get out of the Soviet Union. They struggled, and they finally achieved their freedom. And all they wanted to do was to be part of the EU. And they became part of the EU, and he said, now we're under the thumb of Brussels. This is what it looks like. The EU started with a trade agreement. So, the United Nations has a policy. This is their policy on land use. It was established in 1976. And you've seen this. I know you've heard this. You've seen it, but you need to really know it. And that is that land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset, controlled by individuals, and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is the principal instrument of the accumulation of wealth. And therefore, it contributes to social injustice. Public control of land use is indispensable. Public control of land use is indispensable. And you know, if you've got any doubts about this, you just look at the 2005 United States Supreme Court Kelo decision. What did that do? Some people think that what that decision did was it meant that your government could take somebody else's property, someone's property, and give it to somebody else. No. We already had that. It's called redevelopment. No, what the Kelo decision did, under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, where you are guaranteed just compensation for the taking of your property by the government for a public use. Public use. What did it do? It redefined public use to anything that your government thinks it is. That's what happened. The end justifies the means. That is a communitarian law. The end justifies the means. That is the end of private property. That is the goal. That is the goal. And now we get to the wildlands. And believe me, that's where you live. If you're not living in Seattle, you're in the wildlands. And I'll tell you what, Seattle's going to be in the wildlands too. Because we're talking about really moving people in. Some of these larger cities are the interim cities. Because this plan is really serious about moving you into high-density urban centers. And you know what? This plan is made by people who live in the city. And if you fly over our great nation and look down, as I have been doing all this last year and a half or so, what do you see? You see that you live in an agricultural country. You live in a nation of open space. You know that you yourself, if you drove up into some of these hills, you drive out to the Olympics or whatever, if you didn't have your little handheld device there, you could die out there and nobody would know for a long time. And the country is like that. We have a huge nation. This plan is an urban plan designed to put you into city centers where you could be more easily managed and surveilled. Only 42% of the state of Washington is owned. Now, only 42% of the state of Washington is owned by government, federal, state, and local government. That's not enough. You've got over 2 million acres of roadless area in Washington state. But that is not enough. Because this plan is about restricting your ability. It's about removing human beings and human activity from the rural and suburban areas. And in my area, my county is a rural county. About a year and a half ago, our county supervisors decided that there just was not enough money to pave and maintain our county roads. We have 1,384 miles of county roads. And they said, you know what? We only have enough money to maintain 150 miles. 150 miles, 9% of those county roads. 91% of the county roads are not going to be developed, to maintain, not going to be maintained in the future. What does that mean? They are pulverizing them and turning them to gravel in my county. And you will see this happening all over the United States. How do you bring people in from the rural and suburban areas? You stop maintaining their infrastructure. You stop, rural post offices, right? You close the rural post office. You close the school. You don't have enough law enforcement out there. You don't have enough services out there. Pretty soon, there's no jobs, right? They close down your industry. Oh, you're packing. Oh, you're shipping. Oh, you're fishing. Oh, you got timber. Oh, you got water. Oh, you got oil and gas. No, no, no. You're not going to be using that anymore because that is, did you know that a quarry is scraping the face of Mother Earth? Yes, that's right. I remind you, I am a liberal Democrat. And I want you to know this is not a partisan issue. Don't let this be a partisan issue. When you are talking to people who are more liberal, who are more, think of themselves as being environmentalists, this is not an environmentalist plan. That is the green mass of this plan. This is not about recycling. This is not about, of course we want to recycle. Of course we're not. We turn on the tap and just leave it. No, we don't do that. This is the green mass for this plan, to tell you that you are destroying the planet, therefore you cannot use your resources. So, view shed. Here's something you probably have seen. I hope you can see this. Can you see this a little bit? It's called the North American Wildways. And this is the United States and Canada. You notice, United States and Canada and Mexico, there's no boundaries because animals don't see boundaries. So that's why there's no boundaries here. And what's the plan? Is to have, this huge, this is enormous. You should look at this. You can find this on Wildlands Network. This is the real deal. These are very serious people who are being funded heavily. So, there's there's wildlands that are going to go, these are corridors so that animals can, Yellowstone to Yukon. Well, it looks like most of the state of Washington is in the western spine of the continent. Now, they don't have the money to buy that land from you, so they're going to make you unable to use your property, right? That's what you know, because I know you know about best available science. You know about your critical areas ordinances. You know that they are there to stop you from using your property. Guess what? Up in the Maine area, we have two countries, one forest. This is a plan, 2 countries, 1 forest. This is about keeping people out of that area. It's about charging you if you cut down a tree. Did you know that satellites fly over every 16 days? They do a full satellite check. They count every tree. Every tree, if you've ever been in New Hampshire, that's all they have in New Hampshire is trees. Every tree has been counted. Every tree is counted. In Maine, every tree is counted. And if you cut down a tree, they know. Especially if you have a conservation easement and you cut down a tree, you're going to find yourself in court real fast. Then what happens? You pay a fine. If you just cut down your own tree without a permit, you will pay the cost of that tree was a carbon sink. And the amount of carbon over a period of time that tree would have absorbed is monetized, and you will pay. You are about to pay for a living because you will pay vehicle miles travel taxes if you're driving a vehicle. You will pay for travel if you fly. They are monetizing our exhalation. This is the plan. So, one thing is happening, this is kind of funny, is that China, they've decided that they want to cash in on these carbon credits. They're getting subsidies for global warming gases. They're making so much money on it that they've decided to churn out harmful coolant gases so they can be paid to destroy the wasteful byproducts. They're actually creating greenhouse gas emissions so they can be paid to restrict them. This is what you're going to see. This is the plan. So we're getting to the point where in our economy, the only economy we have is taxes, fees, fines, penalties, lawsuits, and government grants. That's it. We don't make much. And you know, I know you guys have Apple here. And what do they make? 5 boxes. Computers. Of course we all use them and they're great. But what are they really for? They're wonderful. We almost can't do without them. Did you know that your child or your grandchild, when they're gaming, your movements, your physical body movements are unlike anyone else's. And you can be identified. It's like a fingerprint how you use those devices. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. You did? Cool. All right. So, this is it. Using the cover of environmentalism, the rigid control of a totalitarian state is in progress right now. And that's really what's behind the green map, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is the abuse of trust. This is exactly, it's a hijacking of the environmental movement. That's what it is. So, the Patriot Act, the USA Patriot Act, the National Defense Authorization Act, that's Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. That's what it is. FBI surveillance, you know, they don't need a warrant for your hotel records, your bank records, internet records, your phone records. No warrant needed. Public-private partnerships, my favorite one is prisons. What do prisons need?
Prisoners.
Prisoners! And how do we get more prisoners? Make more things crime. Right. Make sentences longer, right? This is it. Privately owned and financed prisons. They need prisoners. Everybody thinks they're not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. I got nothing to worry about. I'm not. Yeah. You're probably breaking a law at least every 15 minutes. You're sitting here listening to me, aren't you? So, I know that you know that the war on terror is a war on you. This is about controlling and managing populations and bringing them into areas so that they can be more easily managed and controlled. And revolution is bad for business. This is a corporatocracy. This is a public-private partnership of the ultimate. This is fascism. This is what it looks like. We don't even know what it looks like. And it has happened right under our noses. This is exactly what it is. All totalitarian states have the same characteristics, right? Total control of property and means of production. Total information, right? Surveillance, loss of free speech and movement. They share the same philosophy, too. It's all for the common good. Oh, you selfish individual, you. Right? The Spartan present. Restrict. Restrict your use. You're fat. Right? Fat. Obesity is going to be a crime. That's right. You lose your kid. You lose your child for obesity. Okay? What else? What else do they have in common? All totalitarian states have in common the vision of the glorious future. Oh, it's going to be great, right? We're all going to be living in these really cool apartments on top of shops. You won't have to have a car. Just go downstairs, and if you need to, go anywhere else, you got your bike. It's never going to rain or snow. You just be drinking coffee all day. There goes the train. Isn't that great? There it is. What else do they share? Terror. This is what a totalitarian state looks like. If you don't stop it now, you will not be able to stop it. This is it. It's all for the fatherland, all for the homeland. Communism, Nazism, fascism. This is what it looks like. It's all for the common good, as defined by your rulers. Smart growth, smart meters, That's what it is. Here's IBM. The companies that are doing it, some of them happen to have been connected in World War II, like IBM. IBM made the punch cards for the Germans, the computers. So that they, those numbers on the arms, right? Tattooed numbers, that wasn't like your number 1, your number 2, your number 3. That was your ethnicity, where you came from, where you were going to. That was made possible by IBM. IBM had a wholly owned subsidiary in Germany. And they made the cars and the computers for the Germans and made it possible. The totalitarian state requires information. They have never had the capability that they have now. This is an incredible moment in history for technology. IBM is very, very involved in this plan. They are, what are they doing? It says right here, I've got an ad from a newspaper. It says, peak energy load fell by 15% when IBM helped homes in the Pacific Northwest talk straight to the grid, the smart grid. Smart meters are designed so that everything is connected to this grid and can be shut down. 3 o'clock in the morning, you just center, you go and turn on your light. Nothing. Right? What book did you just buy? What class did you just take? What letter did you just send? So who's doing it to you? Oh, and by the way, Siemens was on the President's Council. Excuse me, they were not on the President's Council, but they funded Growing Smart, legislative guidebook. Siemens makes solar panels. Siemens is in the smart grid. Siemens was a German corporation about to go bankrupt when Hitler came to power, until Hitler generously provided them with slave labor from the concentration camps. Siemens. So who's doing it? You've got Margaret Pegler, right? I know I'm saying her name wrong. She was on the Seattle City Council from 92 to 2003. She's now on the ICLEI Executive Board. She's also on the Central Puget Sound Growth Management Hearing Board until 2016. Hillary France, Bainbridge Island, she was on the council, right? Now she's the executive director of FutureWise. Kathy Lehman, she was recently elected council member in Bellingham. She was the FutureWise chapter director in Whatcom County for 4 years. This is it. You've got a combination of elected officials who are going back and forth from these non-governmental organizations. And they are making policy for you. They are creating laws for you. This is exactly it. So I'm not going to go through all of this. I've got a lot. I just want to show you one or two things. This is from Bank of America, removing roadblocks to smart growth. Bank of America, removing roadblocks to smart growth. This was a seminar they put on with the American Bar Association. Does that look good? Can't you just wait to move in there? Oh my goodness, I can't wait to move in there. How about you? All right. Now, this is why you're going to read in the New York Times that I am a nut, right? Because the American Planning Association knows they're at war. This is a war. The American Planning Association just put out a 12-week-long communications boot camp for planners. And they said, hey, whoa, they're getting hip. They know what's going on. We better do something. What are we going to do? We're going to change our jargon. We're going to call it quality growth. Yeah, and we're going to do what? What do they say here? This is part of their 12-week-long boot camp for planners. Boot camp, right? What did they do? They said inoculate elected officials. This is a key strategy. Inoculate elected officials. If I was an elected official, I'd be pretty pissed off. But I'm not, am I? Cultivate influentials. They are doing what they can to create this counter disinformation campaign. And you'll see it in the New York Times. You'll see it all across. I was just interviewed by the American Bar Association. They put out their article. This is something that I do when I'm interviewed by people who I know are going to fly. I video the interview, and then I post it on the Internet along with the article. Well, this is what they did. They interviewed me, and they left out, they made it seem like there's nothing wrong with being in the Tea Party. What I think about the Tea Party is that we need people in this nation who are paying attention. And the Tea Party is paying attention. And I want that in my nation. I don't care if we don't agree on every issue. That is irrelevant to me. What I want to see is people who are out here instead of watching TV. People who are up and willing to fight and speak out. People who have courage. People who are Americans and understand what that means. That is what I am proud of as an American. This is our tradition. We have a tradition of being individuals and individualists. And so I support that. Now, I was called a Tea Partier in that article because they want to marginalize me, because they want to produce a point of view instantly on seeing that and you are certainly more hip to that even than I am, right? That you're being marginalized. You're thinking, hey, change your name. Don't call yourself Tea Party anymore. Call yourself the Water Party. So, gotta have it. So, what else? The National Association of Realtors. National Association of Realtors, on common ground. This is all about smart growth and how groovy it is. Yeah, right. E3, Washington. E3, remember 3 E's? So here they call it education, environment, economy. Education for sustainable communities. This is like a primer on Agenda 21. Right here. E3 is e3washington.org. Disgusting. Got to keep your sense of humor, though. Where else is it? It's in your university. Here's one just from Oregon State University. Samples. Let's see. Sustainability for the common good. 3 credits. Geography. 300. It's Geography 300, but the course is titled Sustainability for the Common Good. 3 credits. It's a core course for the BA. It's in everything. Your neighborhood association. Okay. Walmart is a partner. Check to see if your church is a partner. If your pastor is talking about sustainable development, go have a chat with your pastor, right? Community-oriented policing, that's under the Department of Justice. That is about spying on you. Okay? Now, here we go. Here's the good part. Here's the happy part. What are we going to do about it? Yeah, all right. Now, you might be thinking, I don't blame you if you feel overwhelmed. Who isn't overwhelmed? Are you kidding? This is an assault. This is an attack on us, right? This is a bloodless coup. It's an administrative coup d'etat. And it is happening. It's worldwide, and it's being implemented right now, right? Awareness is the first step in the resistance. You are in the resistance. There's not a single person in this room who thinks to themselves that if they had been a German in World War II, that they would have gotten up every morning and put on a Nazi uniform. Is there? You think you would have done that? No, you don't, do you? You think you would have been in the resistance. Well, this is your resistance. This is the time. This is it. We are not going to let this happen on our watch. So this is what you do. You educate yourself. It's like when you're in a plane, they say, hey, when the plane's going down and the oxygen thing comes on, put that over your face first. Don't put it on your kid, right? This is it. Educate yourself first and then others. Your job is to educate and break this paradigm. What we are doing, we have broken this lie that this is a conspiracy theory. That ain't flying anymore. This is a conspiracy fact. We will not allow ourselves to be marginalized, shamed, and pressured. We will stand strong. We will speak out. We will speak the truth. If we are in a meeting, if we're playing mahjong, if we're playing bridge, if we're going out with our friends, if we are at our doctor's office, if we are speaking to our bond broker, if we are at a Little League game, we are distributing flyers. We are speaking out. This is our job. This is what we do. We do what we can. Everyone can do something. All of us can speak out. So you identify the nonprofits who are partnering with your government to control, manipulate, and restrict you. You expose collaborators. Expose the collaborators. Whether you use posters with photographs, you name the collaborators. You want to take out people, you want to partner with other groups, and you want to have a recall. You've got somebody who's on a regional board, you're going to say, okay, we're not going to target the whole regional board because there's 72 cities on it. We are going to show our strength and power. We are going to choose someone, and we are going to say we are going to remove you. We are going to go after you, and we are going to recall you in your town. And we are going to come from all over Washington State to work to recall you because we are going to show the people that we have power and that regional boards do not represent us. And we are going to go to our cities and we are going to say, we want out of the Council of Government. We want out of there. We will stand with our elected officials and we will say, we want to use those federal grants. You know how hard that is for a politician to turn that money down? You need to be there. You need to be there and say, yes, we will stand with you. We are willing to give up that money because we know that this is how we lose our sovereignty. And people are doing this across the nation. This is what we're doing. We are standing together. Okay? You want to go down to your city council. You want to speak out. Whether you have now, you may not want to wait all night for your public comments time, but I guarantee you, half the stuff on that city council agenda is Agenda 21. Go down there and do it. If a room like this went in there, are you kidding me? And I know you guys have been doing it. You do it. You go down there and you speak. Do it together. And then you do it in Bremerton. And then you do it in Port Townsend. And then you go to Seattle. And then you go to SeaTac. And then you go and you do it. You get on your bus and you go. And you say, it's Monday. We're going to be in Port Washington today or whatever town it is. And you do it. And this is what's happening all across the nation. And yes, we're tired. I look out at groups all over the United States and I see people like me with white hair. And I say, of course we don't. You think I love to fly all over the country all the time. I was home 4 days last month. We have to do what we can. Every one of us. There's nothing more important. So we have flyers. You know, this doesn't sound like it's going to work, but it does. You can do a lot with a flyer. Now this one isn't, you know, what it says isn't as important, but we stopped something in our town with 7,000 of these. I live in a town of 170,000 people. We strategically placed 7,000 flyers, and we stopped this plan that they were going to do. We've got flyers on our website. We've got a flyer that says, why is everyone talking about UN Agenda 21? On the other side it says, what's wrong with sustainable development? You can make 100 of these flyers for $6. We've got them on our website. Just print them out, walk them around. Great exercise. Don't hand them to people because you will waste a lot of time fighting with people. Don't do that. Get up early, you know, and go out there and put them on porches. This is what you want to do. Wherever you live, if you take a walk every day, you take these flyers with you and go and do it. Okay? This is a battle for the heart and mind of the United States, right? So in Alabama, they passed, and it was signed into law by the governor, Alabama Senate Bill 477. It's an anti-Agenda 21 bill, the very first law in the United States. Yeah, what does it say? It's the property rights amendment or something like that. I mean, we thought we had property rights. They have to write an amendment for this. It's no money for any Agenda 21 plan. I'm sure it'll be litigated, but we have to do it. We have to do it. When you find someone on your council that you can support, or someone who's running for office, who's speaking the truth, you want to support that person. You want to tell them, too, that if they do not, when they get into office, if they don't do what they said they're going to do, you're going to recall them so fast, their head's going to spin. We have had this. We are taking back our country. Yeah. We are kicking Italy out of our cities, and we are purging Agenda 21 from our laws and our statutes. We are cleaning out our laws. Okay? If you're a member of the Board of Realtors, of a union, refuse to pay your dues or pay them under protest and tell them why, because they are supporting Agenda 21. Okay, so we're pretty much there. I want to show you something. This is, you guys may know, this is the KIPSAP, Alliance of Property Owners. They put out a postcard. I don't know how much it costs. Maybe somebody here knows how much it costs. Bob, I don't know if you know, but this was very effective. This is about the Shoreline Master Plan. You know, you can do a lot, if you live, especially if you live in an area where it's just not that easy to walk stuff around. Collect some money and make flyers or postcards. and get the information out to people. You can do this. Sometimes it only costs about $5,000 or $6,000. If you don't want to do anything, and whether you're job sensitive or you just don't feel like it, get out your checkbook. This is the time to pay up. I don't enough to write a check and write a check. People like me who are going around, I go all around the United States. I try and speak for free as much as I can to universities. I want to speak to as many young people as possible. I appreciate when young people come to my speeches, and I am going to Western Washington University in October, and it's intense. You know, I'll tell you, it's not easy to do speeches to universities. And I get heckled. The thing is, you have to have courage, and I know you do. So we're going to do this together. I know that you're going to do this with me, that you're on board, that you are on board with the United States of America, that you're on board with the world, because this is a huge, grassroots, nonpartisan resistance movement, and it is everywhere, and it is happening now. It is really building, and I want you to stand up and say, yes, I will participate, I will do whatever I can do. I am there. I am with my nation. I will save my country. And not on my watch. I will not allow this to happen on my watch. So let's do it. Let's do it.